Well, hi, Carla. Thank you for helping me in my project. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
You're going to hate me for this, but what do you want to know?
Where do you live? What are some of your hobbies? How do you see the world? That type of thing.
I live in the Washington, D.C. area, which you know right now is a little crazy. Um, I have been encouraging people to speak in English, or more or less, even more than that, I think it's more feeling confident with who they are. So they will go out and go forward. And today you need to ask me direct questions. My mind is totally gone.
I understand. You say you want to help people practice speaking in English. How did you get started with that?
I blame it all on Rehan Awawa. He came up with this idea and asked me if I would speak to one of his employees live on English, and we were kind of surprised how many views we got. And I began doing it more and more, and finally, I just continued doing it. I've been doing it for almost 3 years now.
And do you have other people that you recruited to kind of help with your project?
Yeah, but they come in and come out, go in and out because it works that way. People have time and then they don't, and then they do again. So you never know.
And what are some of the positive results that you've seen from your project?
Oh, I mean, I have people who got jobs because of this. I've got people who began feeling more confident about themselves and doing what they want to do more so than what people expect them to do. There have been all kinds of growth in this. I'm not sure today's the best day for me to be interviewed about this, but we'll see.
I understand. Well, so part of my project is I want to see how widely people know about NASA's plans to go back to the moon in 2024. Have you heard about NASA planning to send people back to the moon in 2024 before we talked about it?
No, I had no idea, to be honest.
Well, and what do you think about space exploration? Do you see it as, just to give you a range of choices, do you see it as some fundamental to the future and growth of humanity? Or do you see it as maybe misguided priorities? Or do you see it as just kind of like a nice to have thing? Like, what are your thoughts about it?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I think it's a cool thing. I would love to go to the moon. But I have no real feelings about this at all, to be honest. I think exploration is important. I think looking into what is happening outside of this planet may be a very important thing at this point in time. I'm sorry, I am not really here right now.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, just one other question. If you were to look out at humanity 500 years from now, do you think we're only still on the earth, or have we kind of branched out and we have people living on the moon and people on the Mars, people on the moons of Jupiter and the moons of Saturn? And like, how far, how far has the sphere of humanity grown in 500 years, do you think?
I've never thought about it, so it's hard for me to answer. I would hope, I would like to see big differences in the world and people to be more accepting of each other. And that definitely is not happening right now in this country. There's so much division. So to think of where we are now and what I'm seeing at this moment going 500 years from now, I certainly would not like that brought to other planets and other parts of the world, of the universe. It's not a good thing that people are being so judgmental because of skin or because of religion or whatever. I think it's horrible, to be honest. And I have very little respect for what I'm seeing in the world right now. I would like to see people begin to be more accepting and more loving of each other. And to think of the world as it is right this moment, moving 500 years from now, I just don't know. I mean, that's an honest answer.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry that I'm being pessimistic. Okay. So,
But
I'm not sure.
how much of the current social problems we have is because of one group feeling that they're superior to another group versus this idea that maybe there's only a scarce amount of resources in the world? I mean, like, what do you think is driving the behaviors we've seen recently?
I think the first thing you said, people are not willing to look at the world as one world family. They think, oh, that person is different, I can't be friends with them. Or they're not willing to talk to someone who thinks and speaks differently. So you need to take some time, and we need to take time and speak to each other and get to know each other. The lockdown is an interesting time because the only way we can speak to people is using the internet. And I'm going to sound like Rehan Alawawa if we would only begin using the internet now to connect with each other and connect in the world. It would be a good thing. I've been speaking to people from all over the world, from countries I didn't even know existed recently. And it's rather cool because I'm seeing different ways of communicating with people. I've also spoken to people from religions that I really didn't know about. I've gotten to know about Islam. I've gotten to know a little more about Christianity, which are things I didn't know before. It wouldn't have happened without the connections I've made using the internet. So do I think it can change? Yeah. I think there's hope not only hope, there's positivity there, but I also feel that right now, not more people are concerned about what they cannot do, and they're worried about, am I going to survive, instead of wanting to give to someone else.
Yeah. What are the biggest needs you're seeing in our interview from the people you've talked to? Where are the biggest opportunities to sort of improve people's lives?
I think just talking, I love the, going to sound like a groupie, but I like what Rayhan's doing by encouraging people to interview people from outside their countries and seeing the differences that are happening in the world. Because when you start talking to people who celebrate holidays or celebrate their lives in different ways, you begin seeing life in a different manner than you did prior to this.
That's a very good point.
I don't know if I said that clearly or not, but I hope I did.
It sounded like you see the biggest opportunity in terms of mutual understanding and just awareness of what's important to each of us.
Yeah, and I think we've lost that. We've lost it somewhere. We lost human values. We lost looking at life and being glad, happy to be being a part of life. And it got lost in the shuffle that we've created. It's just, I don't know if it said that clearly or not.
It was clear to me. So you said if you could, you would go to the moon. What do you think that would be like?
I think it would be rather awesome to be able to step on the moon. We always talk about the man in the moon. Why not go and meet him? I mean, I have a meditation that I do with people before I do a laughter meditation. And part of it takes them to the moon and dancing on the moon. And people love it.
How does it go?
I can't really, you need to experience it to understand it, because it's more of an experience, but it's taking life and seeing it as it is and feeling a connection with the whole universe and not just your tiny self. Because we're really not our tiny self, we're more than that. You know, we're that air that surrounds our houses, that surrounds the world. And when we become aware of that, then we realize all these stupid little things happening, including the thing that lives in the White House or down the street from me. It's really unimportant. It's something that's going to change anyway. But right now, it's the consciousness in the world that has put us where we are.
I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of our behaviors are driven by small-mindedness, and the more that we can open up our minds to how truly amazing the people of the world are, and how such a small part the Earth is to the universe, perhaps that helps us take a step towards having a better perspective.
Right. And I think our perspectives are pretty much, we're so narrow-minded, and there's no reason to be that.
Well, I definitely appreciate all the work that you do. It's been really amazing to see the amount of energy you've put into it.
Thank you. Sometimes I don't think I do that much, so I appreciate hearing it.
You know, I heard this story one time about all these fish walking or being washed up onto the beach. And this guy starts tossing them back into the sea. And his friend's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to save the fish." And they're like, you know, thousands and thousands of fish. And he's like, "Well, you can't save them all." And he's like, "But I can save the ones I can."
That's the starfish story.
Is that the starfish story? Yeah.
Yeah.
We should all do the little that we can, and it add up.
And we all have a gift to give. It isn't that I have a bigger gift than anyone else. This is my gift. But everyone has a gift to give. And if we keep it inside, we're going to die of the stress of keeping what we can do inside instead of letting it expand and go outside.
Absolutely. And plus, it's more of our identity and who we really are when we give our gift.
True.
Well, Carla, did you have any additional comments before we close up the call?
I'm just having trouble staying focused today because I have been all over the place. I was up in Baltimore because I needed my picture taken. I got lost getting there and lost getting home. It has, you know, then I started my show, had an internet issue, which I need to call Verizon about because I was kicked out of my own show. It's been weird.
Well, even with all those frustrations, you still have amazing grace and, you know, tenacity.
And that comment about the craziness, I really don't want in the interview if you can get rid of it, but I guess you can't, so.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time, Carla, and I'll let you get some more rest.
And I really don't even have time to do that. I'm redoing my website too. So, very crazy today.
No worries. And I thank you for keeping the time for me, even with all that going on.
I'm happy to do it.
Well, you have a good rest of your day then.
Before I leave, can you close the recording for me?
Sure. Absolutely.